Hey, what's up, everybody? So today I got a little different of a video here. Really cool idea. A guy I work with here, Jason Torres. I have done an interview of him before on my channel. Today he's going to be interviewing me. My name's Justin Von Meigen. I specialize in final expense telesales. So does Jason. And yeah, so Jason's going to be interviewing me so you guys can get to know me a little bit better. So we're going to turn it over here to Jason. You can introduce yourself and then go ahead, man. I'm all for it.
Well, thanks, Justin. So, again, my name is Jason Torres. This is actually an honor and a privilege to actually interview Justin on his own channel. Um, Not many times. I don't even know if this has been done before on other people's channels. I know there's a bunch of people that you guys may or may not follow, but I don't know if it's ever been done where the tables have been reversed and the actual owner of the channel actually gets to get interviewed by somebody who he may or may not have on his channel, Justin. So I want to appreciate the opportunity for interviewing you, and hopefully I don't mess up this interview thing too badly. Um, but Justin, again, thank you. So, in case y'all don't know, Justin is here with us at Senior Life Services, which is one of the largest final expense marketing agencies inside of the country. And in case you guys don't know, he is currently and has been for about 3 years now, actually the largest final expense regional here at our company, and he's actually developed an enormous team. He came in guns a blazing. He shot past me, and yeah, I mean, he just absolutely shot past everybody. I was here long before Justin. I've been here for about 8.5 years, and Justin, I think you're here for 4 now, right?
3.5, yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, he's just shot by everything. He's shattered records that have been in the company for 10 plus years. So he's just annihilating some things. So I'm sure a lot of people got a lot of questions. Hopefully we can cover a lot of things that they might be wanting to know about you, Justin, because I know that just people that you send and that you recruit all over the country are always saying how helpful you are to them in regards to getting them licensed. I know you created that program for yourself to actually help people get licensed, because some of these courses that they have are so outdated. And the
Yeah.
fact that you took the time to create your own platform to help people. So what made you do that, Justin? Like, what made you create your own platform to help people get licensed?
Well, a couple things. I want people, like, I want to be able to help people get licensed. I want to be able to help the agents that I bring on get licensed, because I prefer to hire unlicensed. I have plenty of people who join as licensed agents. Actually, some of the best people I have joined are people who watch my channel. But in terms of like paid advertising, I've found that I kind of prefer to have unlicensed agents. And I noticed that one of the biggest bottlenecks, so in any business, there are bottlenecks, right? And there's certain bottlenecks. And if you can increase those bottlenecks, it'll have a bigger impact on your business than others. So for example, say that 80% of the people slated to start any given week start, right? So if you got 10 agents set to start, 7 or 8 are going to start. And then 2 or 3 are going to, whatever happened, they're going to have to wait a week or they quit. So let's say 70%, be conservative. 70% of the people who are set to start on any given Monday for me, because I start agents every Monday, are set to start. Now, there's not really much room in that bottleneck, right? So if I go from 70% to 90%, that's only like a 30-something percent increase, or like a less than a 30% increase on the amount of people I get started, right? But what I realize is that only like, I don't know, maybe 15% of the people who get their license course, or 20% of the people who get their license course, and that's an overestimate, 20%, actually end up finishing to get licensed. So say it's 15%, and that may be an overestimate too, right, of everybody who buys the license course to get started. So what I realized is if I can get that 15%, it's actually probably 12%. If I can get that 12% to 25%, I'm going to have a 50% increase in my business, as opposed to getting those, like, just focusing on, oh my God, these 2 people didn't want to start this week. Like, so what I did is I looked out on paper, and I'm like, where are the biggest boosts to my business going to happen? And sometimes you don't even know until you look at the numbers. So I realized that the biggest boost to my business was, hey, how many people can I get finishing this dang license course and passing the final exam? So that's when I created a separate YouTube channel. It's youtube.com/at life insurance exam prep. So it's this whole channel that people can go through and study. And what's happened too inadvertently is I've ended up helping a lot of agents who don't even work with us more than their upline before they even start. So they go through, they like the way I teach on YouTube and explain things, and they're like, hey, this guy can help me. And it's turned into kind of like a recruiting funnel too. And we've had some people who have worked with us from there who have done who are doing pretty well here. So that was the main intention, was to help agents, and then I guess from there it just went from and to help the business grow, and from there it just had side effects that were all good.
Yeah, well, I mean, your channel's amazing. I actually went through and watched some of it because you actually told, or you didn't tell me about it, but I had saw a link on your main YouTube channel that directed people to there, and then a couple of recruits that you actually send to the home office, they trickled down to my region, and they're like, yeah, his program on getting licensed was so powerful. And I'm like, well,
That's
let me go
cool.
take a look at what this guy is doing. And it's just 2020 new videos instead of somebody who's on a recorded video on a chalkboard teaching you
Yeah.
how to pass insurance. It's just something different. So it helps people. Now, you talked about those numbers and how you have so many people come through. A lot of people, they get into this business as an agent, but then they want to build teams. I mean, we
Hmm.
all know there's tons of organizations out there that just recruit, 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 recruit. And the average recruiter has to put so many people through. How did you mentally get yourself out of the negative thoughts and the
Yeah.
negative orientation that can happen of talking to 100 people and only having 15 of them actually finish the course? Because if you
Hmm.
send 100 people to go get their license, 15 come back, and of those 15 that come back, the turnover is so high
Yeah.
in our industry. How did you mentally prepare yourself and then stay the course to not like just like, oh my gosh?
Yeah, so constantly just making sure you're living in the future. So taking present moment actions to create a bigger future for yourself. So the moment that you're like, oh my God, this person didn't start, you're in the past because that already happened, right? So part of it for me was knowing, hey, what actions do I have to take to get to the future? So my goal ultimately is to be synonymous with final expense in the industry. So when people say final expense, I want them to think of me. That's my goal. I can't really think in terms of notoriety on the channel. There's that much higher I can get. And I also want to have the largest final expense team in the country for sales. So any decision I make is like, hey, is this furthering that goal, right? And I figured I'm going to have to go through this to get to that stage. Sometimes it's hard when you jump from a producer to an agent or to a builder and to building a team, and because it's so hard. Like you have to deal with all that stuff. You have to be everything for everybody. You have to walk through the sludge, and you have to take that hit when you could just be like, dude, I could just go write like 10 to 20,000 this
Yeah,
week and like make,
yeah,
you know what I mean? Like you could be like, that's a grind for like a year. So how did I push through it? I just had to constantly remind myself that there are people out there who there's an overwhelming amount of people who have potential despite the amount of people who display otherwise. Had to keep faith. Those people are there. Those people are there, and you create the environment. Your environment does, like, you change. Your life doesn't change, right? So you change, and I decided, I was like, I'm going to change this environment. I'm going to create this environment of good people around me, and it just kind of writing that down every day for a year until I actually believed it would happen. And then that's really it, man. It was just kind of pushing through, hoping that, like, hey, I don't have to deal with this, forever, I guess.
yeah. And we're gonna. There's a couple questions I want to ask you later about changing your environment because your story is actually one that touches my heart every single time I hear you talk about it. You don't talk about it very often, but when you
Thank
do
you.
talk about it, I'm just like, that's a powerful story. But you said something. You said that the things that you do now are like, if it doesn't help you for the future and it doesn't help you for growth, you don't do them. So every single move you do, it's like you're playing chess against yourself. So every single thing that you do, you're doing it. And if it doesn't bring value or doesn't bring benefit or doesn't bring growth, you don't do it. What would you say to an agent or an entrepreneur or a business owner or somebody thinking who's starting to think about getting into insurance or business in general? What would you say to them on how to make money moves, so to speak? Because a lot of people, they take things that don't make money moves because it makes them feel good, and they don't do that delayed gratification. So if you were talking to somebody who's thinking about getting into insurance or starting their business, how would you describe that?
Yeah, so I would say, like, number one, you always have to aim higher than you think because we underestimate. So this is the thing. Think about this. If you set goals for yourself, right, and you think that they may be unattainable, but like I think most people would agree that they have more potential. Like Jason, if you look back 5 years from now, would you think that now you feel like you have more potential than you did 5 years ago?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Right? So like if back then you set goals that you thought were outside your reach, now you look back and you're like, yo, I wasn't even thinking close to as big as possible, right?
Yeah.
So
No, 100%.
yeah, so it's like think bigger, right? Think bigger when you start. Like think Patrick Bet-David has a book like Next 5 Moves or something. You want to be thinking like far ahead. What actions do you have to take to get there? And like it's a grind at first. Like everything, you have to go the extra mile every day. You have to sacrifice. You have to put, the biggest problem with people now wanting to get into business is they want to get rich. They want to have $1 million in 90 days. Like it's not going to happen, bro. There's a reason why the IRS lets you declare negative income for 3 years as a business owner, because you're probably going to lose money. Like, it's like, hey, just set overwhelming goals, take actions that other people won't take, and you're going to get what other people won't have. That's just what it is. The only reason I've grown to the size I am is because I've taken actions that no one else wanted to take. I've reinvested every dollar I've made, and it's just increased and increased and increased, right? So if anybody's getting into business, first off, set goals way higher than you think that you can hit. Because in a few years, you're going to look back and be like, man, what was I even thinking, right? So set goals just outside your reach. Take immediate action on them and understand that it's going to take time for them to happen. Now, what can you do to shave time off that? Well, you can learn. There's two ways you can learn. You can learn from your own mistakes or from other people's mistakes. I've been so stubborn in the past of learning from my own, and I'm at the point now where I'm like, dude, like I just want to learn from whoever else is doing their thing because, so that would be my advice. Like get with a good mentor, right? It's so important. Get with a good group of people who know what they're doing, right? It's in Richest Man in Babylon. He says like, I'm not going to learn how to, I'm not going to talk to a guy who sells spices of how to, about jewelry, like it's like you got to get a good mentor, set goals for yourself, take action, understand it will take sacrifice, but you don't get time and money without investing time and money.
Yeah, and speaking of mentor, if you get a chance to work with this guy, you're going to be lucky. And if you get a chance to learn anything from his channel, you'll super be lucky. He might not be one of my direct mentors, but he's definitely somebody that I look up to. And like I said, I've been here longer than him, but he is crushing it and everything. And he said set goals that are big. There's a saying that if your goals don't scare you, if your goals don't make you nervous, they're not big enough, and you're never going to stretch yourself. And I know your goal to be the largest team in the final expense sales force is a goal that you're probably going to hit. But let's go to your because you keep talking about learning from past mistakes, and you keep talking about the things that you've done and how you've gone through things. Your story is powerful, man. It's of climbing and then falling and then climbing and falling again. And a lot of people, when they look at somebody like yourself and they see your name all over our sales bulletin and they see your picture up there as the top regional inside of the company and the top trainer, and your coaching teams are selling huge numbers, and you are the largest recruiter in terms of volume inside of our agency right now. They don't see what you went through to get there. All they see is Justin Van Meegen with his picture there. They don't understand what happened. So tell us a little bit about your past, where you were, and how you got to where you are now.
Yeah. So I mean, I put a video out about this. First, I guess when I was in school, I always got really good grades and stuff. I was like top of my class in high school, and I took all the AP classes and got full scholarship to school. I was going to go to be a doctor and all this stuff, and I ended up doing drugs instead of prescribing them. And so that kind of just like obviously didn't take a turn for the good, and my life was a mess for a while, several years. I got in trouble, and I went away to institution, and I was better known as Jail. And I just kind of, and there I had like some sort of, it was like a spiritual awakening. I remember I was like in the shower, and I'm like, okay, how many dudes have like, pooped on this floor? Then I'm in here like showering. It was disgusting. The water made your skin feel like a sea turtle shell, and it was just like, I'm like, what am I doing with myself? And it was, I don't know, it was like, dude, it was God, man. It was like, it was in that moment, I just had this like, my life turned around, and it was just like, I was like, from this point on, I'm going to be a different person. And I didn't know what was going to happen when I was there, because I could have gone away for a long time, but I didn't, and I got like another chance. So like, I kind of look at it as like, hey, I could easily not have this time from all from drug abuse. I could be dead. I probably should be, right, with all the stuff I did and got into, or locked away somewhere. So I just kind of, it desensitized me to traumatic experiences, and everything's just a game. Like, I look at things as a game, and it's like I love video games. So if I play a video game and I don't beat the boss, I don't throw the game away. I don't give up on the game. I reset and restart and restart. I'll play that boss 75,000 times until I beat him if I need to. And I just get obsessed, and I kind of translate that to this in anything I do in life, whether it's fitness, whether it's business, relationships I'm in, stuff like that. It's like, I want to like beat this, and I want to be really good at it. And that's kind of like how it's helped me. And it's like, I'll take a ton of risk. I don't care, because if my life, I can lose everything that I have right now, and as long as I don't go back to what I was doing before, my life will always be way better. So I can't lose everything, because I've gained so much spiritually with myself, and I'm okay with myself now, that it's like, whatever, like I can lose I can get it back, because I have a higher power. I have myself. I found myself, and it's like, I just have that faith in myself. And I don't know, I don't know if that makes sense, but it just helps me take the risk. It helps me push every day, and it helps me look at these things as a game. Like, I don't want to compete. I want to dominate the space. I want to win, and that's my goal.
Well, dominating the space you are. I know there's a lot of people out there that claim to have done it, but they've never really done it. You've actually been through it. So you had your own agency, you got here, came here, you tried it on your own. It was working, but it wasn't working the way that you wanted to. It was actually costing you more than you were making. And then you came here, and it's just like you said, you can lose everything. So you had it, you were going to school, lost it, started over, tried your own agency, tried to do your own thing, got it, lost it, started over. So you're not new to this stock market example, so to speak.
Yeah.
You've done it, and you're just flying here. You said something about your faith and how you've grown and all, and that how it's helped you. And you said you're not afraid to lose, and you can lose it all now. A lot of people say that oh, you could take everything away and I would be happy. But you've had it and lost it, and had it and lost it more times than a lot of people have ever experienced in their life. So that climb, you talked about fitness and your addictive personality and things like that. And by the way, we have another thing in common. I love video games. But not as much anymore because I don't got the time to do it.
Yeah, I get it.
But you talked about that addictive personality. So how do you, as a producer or a seller, how do you find time? Because obviously, clearly, people can tell from your channel, you're a fit guy, you love to work out. I mean, if you want to go into your crazy diet that you do, you're more than welcome to go into that. But how do you find the time to stay disciplined in developing yourself and developing your business and developing your coaches and your leaders? Like, how do you find the balance?
I don't think there is balance. I mean, I just try to be really good at everything I do. And whenever I've strive for balance, I feel like, I don't know, I guess harmony. I know what you mean. I think there's like a harmony where things work
and you're
together.
saying exactly what I wanted you to say, or at least hoping that you would say, because people talk about this work-family balance thing, and it gives them this false expectation or this false reality of what it takes to be successful like you. So please continue.
Yeah, and it's like, okay, you're going to feel more drained working 30 to 40 hours a week not hitting your goals than you will working 60 to 70 crushing it. It's like, because I've done that and I do that, I can I could literally take a flight tomorrow to Europe and live there for a month, and like I'd be okay, you know, and like I could make everything manage with work and everything. Like I don't have kids.
So you had said something about it's not really balance, it's about harmony.
Oh
And then
yeah,
I
okay,
asked
okay.
you, how do you do it? Because people talk about work-life balance, but it really doesn't exist.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so write 2030.
Okay, go.
So work-life balance is something, I think, instead of balance, I think freedom is something more that you can shoot for. And balance is something you have to earn. Like if that's really what you want, and freedom, that freedom is something that you want, that's something you have to earn, and it doesn't come right away. You have to put in a ton
Yeah.
of time. I don't know a single person who has work-life balance, by definition, who's like killing it,
Yeah.
who's doing great, you know. And like you can pick your hard, because it's like I actually consider myself really lazy, so I will work extremely hard.
What?
Yeah, so I will work extremely hard to figure out a way to not have to do something at some point in my life, right? So like I'm going to work really really hard right now so that I don't have to do anything later if I don't want to. So it's like kind of like the ultimate form of lazy. I think I look at it that way. I mean, maybe it's not, but for anybody
That's one
looking at
way to look at it.
but for anybody look, I put the video out on this the other day. If you're looking at work-life balance, the part-time thing, the short work week, dude, if you need a vacation, go take a vacation until you don't feel like taking a vacation anymore. Like, go do it. If you're someone out there, you're like, I need to backpack South America, go do it. Live like a hermit for a month. Go walk up and down the Andes. Like, do whatever you got to do until you're like, I am so sick of vacationing, I need to go home and work. Because like that balance thing, it just doesn't exist. It's a lie. It's something that people were sold to stop chasing their dreams. Anybody who tells you you got to find balance gave up on their goals already, and they're just like, you know, like, and hey, it may offend some people with that, and that's okay. Like if you're watching this and you're like, I need that balance, maybe you did give up on a bigger goal, or that's what your goal is. But I know that I have more balance in my life working a lot than I would if I didn't work a lot, because what it gets me. So yeah, I don't believe in it. And it's, you don't have to be good at one thing, right? It's like, why go to the gym if I'm not going to try to be in really good shape? Why, you know, why would I do this if I'm not going to try to be really good at it? Why would I get in a relationship with someone if I'm not going to try to be like the best person that this person's ever been in a relationship with in their entire life? It's like, you do one thing the way you do everything, you know, like, if I'm going to make my bed, I'm going to do it like military style and have it super tight, crisp, tucked in, you know? It's not going to be all gross and disheveled. It's like, it doesn't take much time to just do those little things that improve your life. And if you're going to spend time, it actually takes effort to not go 100% in, because you have to think about it. So, I don't know. I get that's a big subject, but I get everybody's got
No.
different goals, you know?
I mean, what you just said is probably, I mean, you know this. I mean, training people, developing people, training leaders and developing leaders. It seems like everybody wants that. How do I become rich in 3 months thing? Or how do I get to where the person is doing less work than they did to get there? Like everybody wants the nice things, everybody
Yeah.
wants the work-life balance, but they want it now. And they don't understand that it takes time and effort and having no balance to get there. The quote unquote balance that everybody's talking
Yeah.
about, I mean, it doesn't really exist, because work life balance means that you're able to shut it off. And if you're able to shut it off, then that means that you're working a 9 to 5. And that means that you're
Yeah.
you're limiting yourself, just like we talked about. And you had said something about being the best, and not doing the best at what you do actually requires work. And you've probably seen this more often than not. People who say, hey, I don't want to do this, I don't want to do that, or that's not my job, or this isn't that. Like, you're looking for an excuse to shortcome that specific area that you're looking at. If you hire somebody and you have a meeting every day and they say, well, do I really need to be on that meeting? You're just
Yeah.
looking for an excuse to make yourself not be available, which is looking for an excuse to fail. If you have somebody on your team who says, well, that's not my job, right? it might not be your job, but why are you looking for a reason not
Yeah.
to do it if it's going to make you better? And that's what separates people like you from the average person. You don't say, well, how can I get away from doing that right now? You say, how can I get away from doing that later? And how can I be lazy later, not lazy right
Mhm.
now? I'm going to do it right now, but I'm going to find a way not to have to do it later, which you said you're a very lazy person. I would take 100 of lazy Justins over some of the other people that come through our onboarding process just
Yeah.
because, I mean, your lazy is just totally different. So, I mean, that's
Well,
powerful,
you gotta
man.
be you gotta put in extra effort just to make it in this business anyway, right?
Right.
Now, I think this is a good relationship because sometimes it's hard in insurance sales to really relate. Like, if you're not going all in when you start, right, then you're not gonna absorb everything from training. I mean, all in, like you
Yes.
put in extra effort. Like, it's not just like I made
Yes.
my calls, I'm done. It's like no, you made your calls at 6, 7 o'clock at night. You should listen to recordings for a half hour. You should jump on YouTube
Yes.
and listen to some stuff. That's what I did. You know, I got obsessed with it. It was a game. I'm like, I'm gonna beat this game, and you're only gonna feel burnt out when you stop playing a game. You know, you're not made of wax. You know, you're not made of like rubber. You can't melt.
Mm.
You can't get burnt out.
Yes.
You know, you're a spiritual being. And I follow a guy online who talks about this. He's like, you can create energy. He's like, the only way you get burnt out is if you quit at something and you stop looking at it like a game. And this, I think this is an example that most people can probably relate to, especially if they're new in the business, because most people have probably been in some sort of relationship. So think about this. It's like, if you're not 110% into your spouse, trying to grow the relationship, that takes a lot of effort, right? To keep a
Yes.
relationship going. And you've been married for a long time. So it's
15
extra
years.
effort. Yeah, exactly. So that takes a ton of effort, right? And it's effort and it's a challenge to keep that going. But it's also a challenge to be in 50% and then not have a happy household, right? So it's like if you equate it to insurance, it's like yes, it's a challenge to be 100 it's a challenge to be 110% in. But if you're not 110% in, then you're going to struggle financially and you're going to feel like you failed. So it's like that's a challenge too. So you just got to pick which challenge you want, really.
Yeah, you got to pick your hard. And
Yeah.
it's just like you said, it's just like, there's, so I've heard the saying when you start in a business or heck, if you're going hard in insurance or in general, you got to treat it like you're going to school full time and you're working a full time job.
Yeah.
And if you even want to get crazier, pretend like you got a wife or a girlfriend that you've been with for a long time because it's just like you said, marriage, man. I mean, I've been married for 15 years and it is like it's marriage isn't 50-50. Marriage is 100%, 100%,
Yeah.
period. A relationship is just like that. And if your personal relationship takes that much work, your business relationship, which like there's nobody on the other end of your business relationships that's saying, I want this to work too, right? Like
Hmm.
most businesses fail. So in a marriage or in a relationship, if you want it to be work out, you at least have somebody on the other side that says, okay, he's having a bad day. Let me pick up the slack, right? But in
Hmm.
business, if you decide to go slack it off, there's nobody over there trying to help you. So your business is just going to fail.
Hmm.
And I mean, but that's awesome. So
Thanks.
just a couple more questions. Why, like, you like to play games? So there's
Yeah.
tons of games out there. There's the real estate game. There's the storefront game. You can go open up a storefront. You could open up a property and casualty business. I mean, there's just so many different games that you can play in today's world. I mean, you got people making tons of money, making all types of social media accounts that haven't done a thing in their life, but people are paying them thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars
Hmm.
to teach them a fake business, right?
Yeah.
What made you, Justin Von Meinigen, JVE, what made you pick insurance?
Honestly, there's no like magical story behind it. I sold cars, and some guy I sold a car to was like, "Hey, dude, I think you'd be good at selling life insurance. You could definitely make more money." And it was like the complete opposite of the normal insurance interaction because most people are like,
Hmm.
"Well, come work with me," you know, and they get the override. But he's like, "You don't want to work where I work." He's like, "You want to go check this place out." So it was funny because looking back now, like no one says that. You know, you go into Facebook, you're like looking for an insurance job, and it's like, you know,
Oh my
the
gosh,
wolves
your
come out.
DMs get destroyed.
Yeah, but I picked it. It's like one of the hardest industries to get into. There's
Yes.
crazy competition because like
Hmm.
the barrier to entry is so small. And I just got focused on it and I got obsessed with it. There are probably other things I could have been successful with, but I looked it up and I saw that life insurance was the most profitable business in the world or in the US, like many, many years. I think commercial banking or something beat it like a year ago or 2 years ago, but life insurance and annuities was like the most profitable business. So I'm like, hey, and I read that financial services made more millionaires than in any other industry in the country. So I'm like, hey, well, I'm going to follow the money. Like, if someone else can do it, I can do it. And I learned over time that I underestimated my potential. Most people do underestimate their potential. And that's just what it was. And I ended up doing okay with it, and it grew, and I saw the scalability of it and the future. And I saw proof. Like, I met James, I met Grant, I met Rory, right? I met these guys like at 10X conference. Jeremy, you met Jeremy on the trip, right? I met Jeremy, and he's successful in his previous upline and stuff. And I was like, dude, if these guys can do it, I can do it. They've just been doing it longer. So that's really why I chose insurance. And it wasn't anything in particular. I didn't wake up and like, oh my God, I can't wait to sell life insurance. I just got introduced to the business and started seeing that it was a promising thing and just kept rocking with it.
So let me ask you a question, Justin, because you are shattering records that have been held in our agency for a long time. You are actually short of beating our number one agency record of the first place by only 70 grand. So now people might think that that's a lot, but your name is all over our sales bulletin as being like, it's like every single week you see another Team JVE, Team JVE, Team JVE. It's like every single week you see it over and over and over and over. I mean, just in a 4-week month, you did $751,000 in production. And that, like, I'm not talking about you did that 2, 3, 4 years ago when you first got started and it was beginner's luck. Like, you just did that last month. You did 751,000. And then in a 5-week month, you did 866,000, which was only 2,000 shy of breaking a record that's been on the books for 8 years.
In half the
And
time.
hasn't, yeah. I mean, in half the time you came here and you've just been shattering records that have been on the books. And now you have teams and you're teaching coaches how to do it. What makes, like, you said you could take a month off, right? And you can go travel Europe and you can do all this things. What actually, like, what is like, you know what? I want to keep breaking these records. I know you want to be the number one person in the country, which I have no doubt in my mind one day you will. I'm going to fight you for it, but I have no doubt in my mind that you will.
Love it.
be. But the question that I have, like, you're doing so well, and you're doing it just in Florida right now. So what is making you, like you could just put it in kind of cruise control and you'd make a lot of money. You spend probably more money in advertising and lead generation, or not leads, but the lead generation for your recruits.
Yeah.
Meaning trying to get the recruits to come to you. But what makes you keep going? Because I mean, you're doing good, man. I mean, you did 866,000 in less than 4 years.
Yeah, it's just constantly like reevaluating the goals. You know, we had some people here who had set a pretty high standard for numbers to hit. Henry, Rory, all these people who have come before me and have hit certain targets. So they give me something to shoot for. They've shown me what's possible, and it's just reassessing my goals. Like, I have to do it. If I'm not doing something constructive obsessively, I'm going to do something destructive obsessiving. So I have to consistently just be like, nature has a way of filling that void in my life. Like, if I'm not there, I was in Massachusetts for a week, came back for a week, then went to DR, and then went to West Virginia for a couple days. And it was like, by the time, like, the day I got back from West Virginia, I was like depressed. I was like, dude, I'm trying to figure it out. And I listened to a book, Richest Man in Babylon, and I was at the gym, and the guy was like saying how work is like actually the key to our life and our happiness. And I was like, man, that's it. Like, I haven't been working enough. And it's just, I have to do it. I have to constantly reset. and I have to keep going and growing. And I don't think I'll ever get burnt out. Like I just keep pushing unless I stop setting goals for myself. So it's just beating the record. I write down all my lifts when I go to the gym, and I always try to beat those too. So it's just like playing against myself, and I say, okay, last week I bench pressed this much for this many reps. I'm going to try to do it 5 more pounds or 2 more reps, and same thing with sales. It's like, and it's hard because for me in building now, it's like I have a production goal, but I know my production goal ultimately is dependent on how many people I start a week, because we're going to lose a lot of people. So it's like hard for me to figure out what goal to shoot for. It's like, okay, so right now I want to start 20 people a week. So that's what I'm shooting for, right? And I say, hopefully from there, over time, I'll get to, 300,000 a week. I'll do over $1 million a month. It'd be cool to have $1 million a month. But it's just setting the bar higher for myself and just keeping those goals to push at. And you'll be amazed if you do that every day. I set 60 to 90 day goals. I have a vision of what I want in 5 years or so, but I set 60 to 90 day goals because I'm not going to go chase something 5 years away. Like it's not going to happen, right? It's like, I'm not going to do it. But if I see something that's 2 or 3 months away, I'm going to chase after it because I'm like, okay, dude, I can get there. I can sprint to that finish line. So I'm more of a sprinter than a marathon runner, right? So it's like, I'm going to get there. I'm going to try to get there quick. So doing that and if you don't I don't always hit my goals when I write them down. Right? A lot of times I don't. I feel like if I hit it, I didn't set the bar high enough. And it's funny because a few months ago, I was like, all right, I'm going to shoot to hire 15 people a week. And then I was like, you know what? No, I'm going to shoot for 20 because if I do 20, I'm going to do 15. And now I have 15, more than 15 consistently. But if I have less than 20 now, I'm pissed. Whereas 4 months ago, I'd have been like, oh my God, I have 15. That's awesome. So it's just keeping that bar set higher, guys. So if you have a production goal for yourself for sales, be like, hey, I want 2 sales a day, 3 sales a day, or whatever, or like this much AP a week, and just always try to beat that statistic. Always try to beat the bar. But you got to judge your activity the same way that you judge your income too. So like, I've started to make goals that are measurable in terms of what I can actually do. Where I break it down every day into a battle plan too. So that helps me, like little tactics of what I can do during the day. So I write down. I have like 5 areas of my life that I have goals in. And then every day, I just make a list for each of those areas. Like, what can I do today to keep working on these? And I go off and I cross them out every day. And then I look, and it's like, dang, look at all this stuff I did to accomplish the goal. So if you guys can do that, that'll help you. It'll help keep you motivated and excited to just keep pushing. And then you'll be surprised at how far you can get.
Hey, man, we could do an entire another interview just on, just the stuff you said in the last 4 minutes, how you had those 5 different areas and then you mark it down. And that alone could be an entire session on how you do it. Because when you're writing down those areas, you might write them down. You said that if you write down your goal and you hit it, it wasn't big enough. That's a different mentality than your average person. You and I both know some people set a goal and they hit it by Tuesday or Wednesday, and then you don't see them Thursday or Friday.
Yeah.
So some people set a goal and then they disappear. You set a goal and you're like, well, my goal wasn't big enough if I hit it that easy. That's just different.
Well, I'll tell you what I've seen for agents too, because this is applied to an agent level. Because some of the things I say people may not have a reality on in terms of building and stuff like that. So I'll say what I've seen, because I never did this as an agent, but I see people do it. You've probably seen people do it too. So I'll have people ask me, hey, Justin, how many of your agents make $100,000? I say, everybody who wants to make $100,000.
Oh my gosh, that is the most annoying question. When somebody asks me that, and if you're watching this video right now, please just know when you ask me that question, it is the most annoying question because I don't know you.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, how many people make $100,000? And I say everybody who wants to, because I get a lot of people who are used to making some $10, $12, $15 an hour, right? No, usually when someone applies for a life insurance sales position, they're not a highly qualified like software salesman who's going to go get $100,000 salary plus commission plus PTO plus full bennies, whatever. Like those people aren't applying to be a life insurance agent, So it's like we get people who are like me, kind of lost. Like, hey, my life, not all the time, but it's sometimes, right? Or people who want to try a different career. So we get a lot of people, not everybody. We do get plenty of people who are qualified in sales and stuff, but we get a lot of people who are just want to try something new. So when you get someone who starts and they're used to making $15 an hour, and they're like, I want to make $100,000, but then they go from making $500 a week to $1,200 a week, they're like, I'm rich, right? So they kind of can let off the gas a little bit, which happens. And I say, hey, whatever someone wants to do and accomplish with their life, that's fine. A lot more people could make $100,000 than do, because that's exactly what happens. And the only time I see, whenever a new agent does this, and I tell my coaches this now, because I've seen this over the last few years many times, whenever someone starts to get content and complacent with their income, they get depressed. They always have this emotional collapse down the road, and I can see it happening now. Like, I'll see someone who's they'll get, especially when someone gets like a big bonus, right? Like, I love the bonuses, but sometimes it's like, because they'll get like 2 in a good check. And I know, I'm like, dang, they just got a $4,000 or $5,000 check. And they are like thinking they are like Bill Gates, right? And they're like, which is great. I love seeing it. I love seeing people make money. But the thing I have to be really, really careful of, and I tell my coaches this, is make sure that when that happens to someone, that you're on top of them and you keep them pushing and keep them motivated and have them set a new goal and forget about what they just got. Because it'll happen where you guys will see it. And this is why I keep resetting my goals. And I want all you guys watching this, do not let yourself get into this trap where you make some money and then you start to slow down and get complacent, because that's when you get burnt out, because you quit on your goal. When you did that, you quit on your goal, you gave up. And that's when you're going to get burnt out. That's when you're going to be like, I don't know if this is for me anymore. That's when you're going to get depressed. That's when you're not going to feel good about yourself. That's when you're going to start missing the meetings. You're not going to be as plugged in. You're going to wonder, what's happening to me? I don't understand. I have more money than I've ever had, but I'm depressed. Money doesn't buy happiness, but overcome the obstacles to obtain the money is what makes you happy, because you're beating your goals and you're winning and you're making a game out of it. So make sure that if you make some money and you do want to let off the gas, get it all out of your system. Take 2 weeks off until you are so sick of taking time off that you're like, I have to go back and crush it. But I don't recommend you actually do that. But like, really, like, don't give up on your targets. Keep pushing, because that's one of the biggest signs of burnout from a agent with big potential I see.
And it's funny that you say that, because obviously when you're in this business and you're in a mentor role, you're in a leadership role, it doesn't matter if you're with us with SLS or if you're somewhere else with some other 3-letter identifying company. It doesn't matter where you are. A person is a person, and they all have the same challenges. They have the same struggles. And if you get a $10,000 tax return from the IRS, you're living in your glory for the next 4, 5, 6 weeks. So it's the same. It's the same problems, just different. And knowing how to do them, what you just said, like, you got to set a new goal, because it would be a lot nicer if you could put that 10 grand away. I heard this from somebody that I saw. They said, if you want to go shopping without looking at the price tag, work without looking at the clock. And everything that you just said talks about that. And it's just crazy. Your quote that you did, and I wrote it, and I'm going to use it. You said, if you're not doing something constructive, then you'll do something or find a way to do something deconstructive. If people actually thought like that, we'd have tons, hundreds of thousands of people getting so much better, but people are always looking for ways to make things worse. It's just crazy. But I'm going to write down 4307.
Cool.
I'm going to ask you 1, 2, 3, 4, just like, no, I'm done unless you have something that you want to do. I don't know how long you wanted to make this go or not.
I'm good,
I could sit here for 2 hours with you, man. I love talking to you.
I appreciate it, man. I love talking to you, man. You can, if you have some other questions, go ahead and ask me, and then we'll go from there. We'll make it about an hour. That'll be good. We got 15 minutes.
All right. So now we're at 40. All right. So you made a joke about working.
Right now, do it again now.
All right. So you made a joke about working out, right? It's funny because I'm not you, right? Like, your diet is way better than mine. I've actually gotten a little bit better, Justin.
Your dad,
you've inspired me.
Your dad.
No, don't give me that dad bod excuse. I work out very hard. I wake up at 4:30 every morning and I go to the gym. My diet is nowhere near yours, but it's funny because I was in the gym when we were in the Dominican at Casa de Campo, and I was working out with someone, not working out with him, but he came into the gym while I was there, and I was doing my bench press, and I had 225 on there, and I did it like 3 sets of like 4, and I felt proud of myself, right? And then I'm over by the beach, and somebody said they saw you in the gym with 225s, repping it out like 20 times. I'm like, dang it, Justin. Like, this son of a gun. I'm just like, here I am thinking I'm all good doing my 225s 3, 4 times, putting it back up, and you're out there just doing it 20 times. I'm like, oh my god. So, but I mean, I just wanted to add a little bit of humor to it.
You're cool.
But you said something about setting goals, and then we can end on this. Um, you said you track your goals. So
Hmm.
you go to the gym and you add weight to it,
Yeah.
and then you track it, and then
Hmm.
you do this, and you have goals that you do 60 to 90
Yeah.
windows. Like you
Hmm.
don't look 5 years down the road. And when people say, "Where do you want to be in 5 years?" Again, that's another thing that drives me nuts because you don't know what the heck could happen in 5 years. You can be like you right now, Justin, single man, I think, or there might be a lady you're talking to. I don't
It's all
know, but
good.
I know that you're not engaged right now unless you're keeping a secret from me.
Yeah.
So right now you don't have a relationship. So if you were thinking 5 years down the road, a lot could happen in 5 years. You could get engaged, you can get married, you can have a kid, you can lose a foot, you can use an arm. I mean, you might lose your voice. I mean, a lot could happen in 5 years. So when you
Hmm.
think about 60 to 90 days, if people did what you just said and they actually followed it and poured into some type of development, whether it's watching your YouTube channel, which by the way, if you don't watch this guy's YouTube channel, he
Subscribe.
has hundreds of videos that I actually watch during my personal development time. You might not have known this. I'm telling you this now. I watch a lot of your stuff as part of my personal development that I do in the morning. So
Awesome.
just like you, I wake up at 4:30 and then I hop on, go to the gym. I'm at the gym by 4:45, 4:50. I work out for an hour. I come home. I do my spiritual time. I read my Bible. I do a little prayer time. And that I don't time. But then I give myself a minimum of 30 to 40 minutes before I got to run my call. And you are in there on a 5-day work week. You're probably in there for 2 out of the 3 days. Just me watching some of the videos that you say and some of the things that you do. So you might not have known that, but I'm telling you here
It's
now,
awesome, man. Thank you.
subscribe to this man's channel if you don't know what's going on. But like when you're thinking 60 to 90 day goals, like how do you, what would you say to somebody who, because somebody can say, hey, I want to make, like I'm a brand new agent, I've never sold insurance.
Hmm.
And when I do my interviews with people, they're like, I want to make $3,000 a week. And I'm like, I
Yeah.
want you to make 3,000 a week too, but starting off, unless you are just an absolute sponge and have the ability to work 12 hours a day, that's a high goal. How would
Yeah.
you tell somebody just like, listen, here's how you do it, and then set the expectations? Like, how would you help somebody set their goals?
Yeah. So, this is what I do. I divide my life up into 5 areas, right? So I have insurance, I have my YouTube channel, I have my fitness, I have my personal development, and when I'm in a relationship, I have a relationship goal, right? So it's like, and then maybe I forget. There's something else I'm not thinking of, but usually the things I do can fall under those categories. Like personal
Okay.
development would be other money endeavors and stuff like that too. So learning about.
Hmm.
So I'll take like whatever I'm at now, and I shoot for to increase that over the next 60 to 90 days. Say it's like 20% or something, right? And so like for production, it'll be like I want to have this much production a week in this much time, or I want to have this many agents starting a week in this much time. For fitness, it's like I want to weigh this much at this percent body fat because you have to be able to track it, right? You can't just be like I want to lose weight, I want to gain weight. Be like I want to weigh this much at I want to be 225 pounds less than 10% body fat, right? So that's like a goal I write down now. I want to read 6 books, right? So I had like I'm going to read 6 books in that time. I want 5,000 YouTube subscribers. So then every day when I go to work, I write down my goals and then I check my stats on all those things. Like, okay, right now I'm 4 or 5 books in. I'm going to beat that goal. I'm about to be able to start 20 people a week. In like a week, I'll have more than 20 people starting. So it's like I'm working on getting those, and I make a list of what can I do to hit those. So I'm also writing a book. So it's like 30 minutes of reading today, and then 30 minutes of writing, right? And then for my YouTube, it's like I'm going to make a YouTube short, and I'm going to check out my analytics, and I'm going to plan my next couple videos. And then for my fitness, it's like I'm going to have 4 meals today. I'm going to count my calories and my macros, and I'm going to walk and stretch twice throughout the day. And then, as I go down, and like if there's a relationship goal, if you guys are in a relationship, because this is important, you got to have a happy home. Be like, I'm going to give my significant other at least 2 3-hour like sessions a week of like committed time, or like 2 to 3 hour sessions where like no phone, nothing else. It's just, full all in like commitment with that person or whatever. So you want to set these things, and then every day you go through and you track it. And now any plan, and you have to make a plan. Like you set the goals, and your schedule for the day is your plan to accomplish those goals one little bit at a time. So any plan is better than no plan, because any plan will work, because you have to follow the process of execute, analyze, adjust, execute, analyze, adjust. So you execute your plan. It's usually terrible the first time. It's always terrible, right? So if you're a new agent and you're coming into this and you're like, oh, or if you're a struggling agent, and you're like, oh man, I'm having trouble. Yeah, you just have a bad plan, but you have a plan. So you have to analyze. What are you doing wrong? What are you doing differently? Go back, analyze, execute, adjust it, adjust the plan, execute it again. Regroup. What did I do wrong? What could I improve on? Because any plan will do that. And you're going to get upset. If you do this every day, you're going to get obsessed with it enough to where you get to the point where your subconscious, whether it talks to God or what, is going to just create those answers for you. And one day you're just going to have that like, voila, eureka answer come to your head for those things that you're trying to do and accomplish. And it's just like, boom, it happens. I can't explain it. I don't know why. But it happens. If you get obsessed with accomplishing something for a long enough time, it happens. So if you're a new agent, be like, hey, I'm gonna talk to 30 people today about life insurance, right? I'm going to call 30 leads today. You don't have to buy brand new leads. That's expensive. You can buy age leads if you're just starting out. That's totally fine. We would not be anywhere near where we are without our age leads as a organization, right? I mean, new agents we have agents crush it calling age leads. So don't be out there thinking you have to call brand new leads, right? If you're just starting out, buy a couple hundred age leads and be like, I'm going to call, I'm going to call them once a day, or I'm going to call however many people a day, or I'm going to go door knock. I'm going to drive. If they're local to you, just go knock on their doors. Be like, because I would recommend, if you're independent, I wouldn't recommend you start in telesales. I'd recommend you start face-to-face and then transition to telesales, because telesales is like super unforgiving if you're out buying your own leads and everything else. So like you can buy some local leads that are older, be like, I'm gonna knock on 15 doors a day or whatever. Like set that as a target, and you're gonna learn what your metrics have to be to accomplish your goals. But yeah, like I don't know if that answers the question or not, but yeah.
No, it does answer the question, and we'll end on this. You just said the fact that we're talking about us, and we've talked about your records here at SLS, and we've talked about our relationship, and but the thing I love about you is you are completely selfless in terms of who you help. Like you just did a shout out to people who aren't going to bring you any monetary value whatsoever at all. Like you don't have to pay for your subscription to your YouTube channel. You don't have to pay for your insurance, how do I get licensed channel. You don't have to pay for any of that stuff. So when you're helping these YouTube people ads? Yeah, you don't you teach people how to make leads. You teach people how to make recruiting ads. You teach people how to sell insurance. You do interviews with people to help people get better. And I know from stories that sometimes people take that for granted, and sometimes you get the short end of the stick from other people who you've helped build stuff. And sometimes people use people like you and I for their benefit, and then they crap on us, for a lack of a better expression. But still, even when you get crapped on, you still, without worrying about what you're going to get in return, you're still helping. So I wanted to give you, again, a thank you. Like me, who am I? Who am I, Jason Torres? You guys have no idea who I am. You guys know that I work with Justin. He said that I am one of the top regionals here. I do have a $38,000 week under my belt that hasn't been beat yet, but y'all wouldn't know that unless you watched my video that I did with Justin 6 months ago.
Personal production.
Yes. Yeah, personal production, 1 week, final expense. But you guys don't know who I am, but here I am. I said, hey, Justin, you know what? I want to interview you on your channel because people need to hear what you are. Now, he's not getting anything from this except the fact that I'm getting a little bit more speaking time on his channel than he's getting. But your selfless acts of service, man, that's why you're successful, and that's why I don't have a doubt in my mind that you're going to break every single record that this agency has, and that you're going to absolutely keep crushing it. So execute, analyze, adjust your weeks, pay attention, subscribe to his YouTube channel. I'm sure he's going to say it at the end of it, but there's the link down below. I think that's cool. That's the first time I've ever said that, Justin. I've never been able to say link down below because I don't have my own channel. But there's a link down below that you can click on. subscribe to this channel. And Justin, I just wanted to thank you again for the opportunity to interview you. You're the first person that I've actually interviewed on a YouTube channel. So,
Awesome,
but
man. Thank
Justin,
you.
thank you again. I appreciate it. I thank your transparency. I thank you for your humility, and I'm looking forward for 20 more years of doing this with you, man. Like, I'm really looking forward to working with you. So thank you.
Same with me, man. And guys, if you're watching this, there's a reason why I'm with SLS. All right, the people here are great. Like, I haven't seen more integrity in. There's more integrity here than the company that goes by the name Integrity. So, like, you can. I'll probably get served a some sort of thing for that in the mail, some legal thing. But for real though, like, guys, I've only been in the industry a few years, but I've seen the rise and fall of several different agencies and IMOs and stuff, and people saying this person did this to me, this person did that to me. Look, I love it here because everybody does what they say they're going to do. You know, even if it's something I don't like, at least they follow through with it, right? So, it's like, but most of it's good stuff. You know, I'm just joking around, but it's good integrity. It's like, it comes from the top down. I mean, Rory Doherty, who owns the IMO. He's a very selfless person. Like, he loves helping people. He loves seeing this. Like, and we learned from him, and it's a great place. So if you guys would love to check out what we have to offer here, just reach out to me. My email, it'll be in the description of the video. Check out. We don't take everybody. We are pretty. We really look for A players. That's it. And I'm not saying, I'm not trying to say anybody's a B player. What I mean is, we look for people who are fully committed. Now, some people come, and I understand they can't do the full-time thing. They have to do part-time, stuff like that. We can't help you. I can help you through my YouTube channel, right? I want to help you, and I can do it. You have access to me 24 hours a day through YouTube. But if you'd be interested in working with Jason and myself, just check out the stuff in the video there. I appreciate you guys watching this. Check out the other videos. And Jason, thank you so much, man.
No, thank you.